How's it going, everybody? I am Donut. This is, of course, a Black Lives Matter, all cops are bastards, and trans rights supporting channel. If you're not supporting that shit, get the fuck off this channel. This is The Punisher, Season 1, Episode 3, Kandahar. I'm guessing, we're just gonna get a big, flashback episode, man. Honestly, I don't even think we're gonna get, a lot of, you just talking about it. I feel like we're gonna get straight up a whole flashback, or interspersing flashback with, Frank talking to Micro. That's my guess. Let's jump in. If you want to get the full length, check it out on Patreon below for $4 a month. We are back here for the discussion of Season 1, Episode 3 of Punisher, Kandahar. Now, what are we going to... Okay, well, first off, I think, at this point, obvious that Billy is going to be our main antagonist. Are you vibing with that, or do you disagree?
No, fully agree. Yeah, he's got the big parallels, but he's rich. There's a lot there. I totally vibe.
Yeah, I was curious what we were gonna do. Who we building up as our main villain of the season? At first thought it was Carson Wolf, but no. So, yeah, I think now it's clear that I think Billy is gonna be our main antagonist going forward here. So yeah, I guess let's talk about Billy then first. We got a lot of other stuff in the episode to talk about, but let's talk about Billy first, because, this is his real, last episode was his actual introduction, but this episode we get to know him a little bit more. Honestly, last episode, I thought he was going to be a one-and-done character. That was going to be the only time we ever saw him. I did not expect that he was going to be the main antagonist from last episode. What about you? What vibe did you get off from the last episode to this episode?
I definitely thought he was going to be around. I definitely thought that, not necessarily that he would be the main villain, but that we're definitely setting him up for something. We can do the, going against this specific, conspiracy in the government thing, but, just the fact that he has Anvil, that it is this whole, separate thing, that they're, yeah, just something about it made me feel like he's going to be important.
Okay, yeah, I could definitely get that vibe now in retrospect, but at the time I was just we're just getting information, that's what this purpose is. But yeah, he's not a character that I immediately hate or anything. I of course hate him because he's behind all the shit with Frank's family and all that. But if you didn't know that, if we weren't going into this knowing that was the case and everything, then I feel like they're trying to go way more for this dude is very charismatic, and he's the one that's more moral than Frank for most of the flashback, even though again other shit going on behind the scenes. So yeah, I don't know, it's but at the same time, when they say that Frank's squad was behind it, I don't know exactly what they mean by that. Because he was out before the last one, was it just the people involved in the last one? But even then, even just throughout the show itself, they're making it very, very obvious that Billy was a part of it as well.
Yeah.
So, yeah, but still, there is doubt of the I am fully on that. Yeah, he's the villain. Of course, he's done all this shit. But there's that bit of doubt where you go I don't know, did he? What, is he a part of this?
Yeah, or was he a part of it and then he he genuinely did want to try and get out, or is it he's getting out now in order to have some distance and some deniability?
Right, I meant more is he a part of the killing Frank's whole family thing, or trying to kill Frank essentially?
Right.
Was he a part of that level of it? And almost definitely. But I do really like Frank and them talking. They have a really nice relationship. It's cool. It's interesting that we didn't get any of Frank and I can never remember his name. The guy in the AA, or not AA, but PTSD anonymous meeting. Isn't that an anonymous thing? I don't know. But the meeting there.
Yeah.
I can't ever remember his name. Do you have it written down?
I don't actually have it written down.
I keep checking the credits, and I don't see him in the credits, or at least I don't remember what his name is enough to where I don't recognize it, apparently. But
did we get his name? You'd assume so. Maybe we didn't.
Maybe we didn't. But yeah, I don't know. But either way, it's interesting that we didn't get anything from him. Like we didn't like we know,
Yeah.
he was. I'm a little bit like, he was in a group with Frank. Like, he is a vet
Mhm.
with Frank, and they fought together, but not like any of Frank's Afghanistan stuff. Or maybe it was like old Afghanistan stuff we haven't seen.
Yeah, because like Cerberus is this like super group of all sorts of different people. So I guess he must have served with Frank like wherever he was before that.
Yeah, yeah, that makes sense. But
Because yeah, if he was in Cerberus, we definitely would have at least like seen a clear shot of his face or something.
yeah, I mean, well, yeah. Also, with the way Billy was saying, like they didn't, fight together.
Yeah. Yeah,
Uh,
you're right.
But yeah, I think Billy is an interesting antagonist. Definitely not one I would have ever suspected to be our main antagonist for a Punisher thing. Like,
Hmm.
it's I don't know. It's not like the kind of thing that you would think of. Like, it's very personal, but not in a immediately aggressive way. In a way more cold and calculated way.
Yeah, I can see him contrasting really well with Frank, in that Frank is very on his own. He doesn't have a whole lot. The war screwed everyone over, but it's very apparent how it screwed Frank over just by looking at him.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas like Billy seems very well off. He seems very like clean and crisp, and like everything's going right for him.
Yeah. Yeah, like, yeah, he's the one who got out, and like, as he said, like, I mean, and he has those like moments of like, oh, I feel guilty for getting out while everybody else is still stuck in a shitty situation, but I managed to get out. But he also managed to get out through terrible means. So that's more what he's
Yeah,
talking about when he says feels guilty. But you don't get to do horrible shit and be like, well, now I'm guilty about it. I'm
yeah.
still gonna benefit off of it, but I'm also still guilty about it.
Hmm. Like I really liked the scene where Frank's friend is talking to him and saying like, "Hey Billy, you should stick around, like not to get therapy, but to talk to these guys and let them know that things can be better afterwards." Because you could really tell from Billy's energy there that like if he seriously had to be confronted with all these people and he had to like to talk him up like that, like I think it would dig down into the stuff he's genuinely not comfortable with.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas, like, with active military people, with people who are, also just full of bullshit, I imagine it's a lot easier for him to talk about that kind of thing.
Yeah, I imagine so, but there's also that layer of like Frank's friend clearly. I mean, not remember. I don't know about clearly, but my read was that he doesn't trust Billy at all, but is willing to like take the money and be on good terms with them and everything, just to keep this place running and everything like that.
Hmm.
Like, I think he knows, but he doesn't want. And also, like, if he lets on that he knows, then like there would be no reason for him to know Frank was not alive. You know, like
Yeah.
how else would he have found out? I mean, also we have that at the end of the episode, the gravestone. Like Billy is now definitely aware that Frank's alive.
Yeah, that was a big slip up.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it wasn't a big. It was a tiny slip up, but he caught that.
Yeah, like, because of how, close they both were to Frank, or, how close Billy was, how close his friend is. Yeah, like, in context, it was big. But, yeah, I fully understand why he did it. It was so natural.
Mm-hmm. Well, okay, I guess let's move on to Micro. We got, a lot with him this episode.
Yeah, I'm really, really glad that, like, last episode was the big, like, Micro and Frank, like, dueling without really seeing each other until the very end. It was this big, like, how do I, mess with you? How do you mess with me? And then this was way tighter and more intimate.
Mm-hmm. And just, like, the unbelievable amount of parallels they have while also being, like, exact opposites. Is really
Yeah.
nice. Like, I love characters like that, where it's like Billy and Punisher have a lot of similarities, but they honestly don't have like a lot of opposites. Like there's just like they're very very similar, but in different ways. But instead of being like very very similar and very very opposite, like Micro and Frank are.
Yeah.
And like just the huge difference of like we spend the whole episode with Frank having him tied up and beating him up and doing all this stuff and like just trying to find a reason to kill him, like There's no reason at all why he should, but he just wants to make this easier and just wants to kill him, so he just keeps trying to find a reason. Meanwhile, as soon as Micro gets the upper hand, he's just like, yeah, I'm not going to tie you up. I'm going to give you a gun. I don't care. Like, I know you're not going to kill me, so I'm just going to, you know, flaunt my power over you in this situation right now.
Yeah. God, it was such a good, like, such a good way to show how much control Micro had over the whole situation. Without, you know, well, for the most of the episode, making it feel like he was super weak.
Yeah. Like, yeah, it's crazy because it was like, I don't know, like, if he's not giving, like, why is Frank still having tied up for a while before I realized, like, oh, he's just trying to find a reason to kill him. Where it's like, does Frank think that he has more information? And if that's the case, why is he not even trying to get it out of him? Like, he's just sitting there and just waiting for it to come voluntarily. But then also, why would Micro not be giving it up if he did have more information? Which, you know, clearly all the information was given. It was just trying to find a reason for him to die. But even still, you know, in all those circumstances, Micro wasn't pleading as much as you would think. One, because, you know, he knows. But two, you know, he's biding his time. So, like, the whole monologue that Frank gave about, like, the, you know, torture is just time and everything like that. And, you know, he's just like, yeah, I know, I'm doing that.
Yeah.
Oh, such a great twist. Like, we were just talking about, you know, last episode or a few episodes ago about the whole, like, yeah, it was last episode, with Frank being able to, you know, interrogate people without actual torture extremely well. Whereas this episode was, like, you know, Frank doing real torture, as he says himself, like, you know, torture isn't pain, and I'm not doing that. I'm doing what torture is, which is time, and, you know, like, not keeping you to a pattern or anything like that. Whereas, you know, Micro's like, okay, I'll do the same thing, and I'll get the information.
Yeah. Like, it's the same, but it's different. Like, he is allowing Frank to create his own pattern without even thinking about it. It's, like, I've seen a lot of, you know, series where characters do the, like, the Black Widow thing of, you think that you're interrogating me, but I am interrogating you. Or you think that you're torturing me, but I'm actually torturing you.
Yeah.
But this was so, like, I didn't catch at all that was what he was doing in any way.
Same.
I thought, like, at most this must be a, like, you know, I'm going to just wear you out, or I'm going to just stick with it for, you know, so long that, you know, you'll crack, or something like that.
And I totally bought the explosion thing, because I'm like, yeah, no shit this guy would have something like that set up. And then, like, when it's like, okay, no, it's I'm gonna, you know, put out all this camera feed to, like, news outlets and stuff, that makes so much more sense. Like, I at that point, I'm like, why did I buy the fire thing? Like, of course he wouldn't just kill himself in a ball of fire and be like, well, and now my family's gonna never know, and everybody's gonna think I was a terrible criminal forever. You know?
Yeah.
Like, there's no way that he would do that. So, it's the kind of thing where it's like, if you really think about it, you would have been able to be like, this is bullshit. But even still, he did have like, it's not like the system was bullshit. It's just like his reasoning for it was bullshit. And to be fair, the only reason for that is just to, when he has the reveal of, no, this is actually, like, the camera sort of thing, it is to freak Frank out more, like, you know, not in terms of, like, oh, one, people are going to know who you are, but, I mean, more than that, it is, like, just this, like, what, you were lying to me sort of thing. Like, he wants him to be that frazzled so he can stab him with the syringe. I mean, also, like, the whole time, like, why the fuck is he putting in this code with a pin? It was bothering me so much. And then it was like, okay, that's why. See, I feel like I would have saved myself in the situation, because if I was Frank, I'd be like, what the fuck is the pin? Put the pin down. What are you doing?
Yeah, he does it so naturally that, like, as an outside viewer, you'd question it, but I totally buy that Frank would just be like, yeah, I guess he just does this.
It's somewhat like, you know, I'm somebody who uses a computer, and, like, I've seen plenty of other people use a computer, and I've never seen anybody type like that. Whereas, like, Frank is somebody who has probably seen a physical keyboard, like, twice in his entire life, and is just like, this must be how people type. Maybe if you touch the keys with your fingers, you get shocked. I don't know. I mean, that is what my theory, like, I was guessing. I don't think I said it in the reaction, but I was thinking, like, does he have it set up to where it's like, you have to hit these keys with the pin and these keys with my fingers, and if I don't do it that way, then it doesn't work either. Like, it's a password, and also it's the way the password is entered.
That's a really cool idea.
Because he does it the same way every time. And it is like, you know, some were hit with his fingers, some's hit with the pin, and I was just like, what the fuck is this? There's gotta be a reason for it, but no. And so again, if I was Frank, I'd be like, this guy's got a whole situation set up. He's probably like, that's the reason. Like, he has to hit it like this. And also, if I said something like, hey, put down the fucking pin, I imagine Mike would be like, I have to do it like this. And I'd be like, well, okay.
Yeah.
I wouldn't question. I'd be like, yeah, fair.
I also really love that Micro ends the whole situation at the end of the episode by just being like, hey, you need a guy in a chair. This has been my audition.
Yeah, because again, we were just talking about that too, of like, he needs to prove himself, like why he is, like why Frank would need him, because I don't see why Frank would need him right now. Whereas like now I'm like, yeah, I do see why Frank needs him. Like Frank gets way too frazzled in situations, and he would need somebody to be able to like, plan B shit.
Yeah.
But at the same time, where we end this episode is basically him asking Frank, like, listen, what I want you to do is I point, you shoot. And it's like, well, fuck. Like, we just went through all this, and now you're like, listen, shut up, just let me tell you what to do and you go kill the people.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. Not a great situation to be in.
Mm-hmm.
Also, again, making Carson Wolf just like worse and worse every episode. Like, I hope we continue to get flashbacks with him in this season of just like showing us like this is probably the most justified person that Frank has ever killed.
Yeah.
And it's so funny. It's like we start the episode with like here, like Carson Wolf is the worst fucking person ever, and then the like rest of the CSI plot is him going, I feel really bad that he died. Like, what is the point of this fucking CSI plot? It went from boring to just now, like, I hate these two. I hate them. So annoying.
Yeah, like, I'm certain that they're going to, they'll learn what's really going on, then they'll flip. But it's a real, like, oh, do we really need to do that? Like, is that making it better or more interesting in any way? Is that improving the storytelling as opposed to just going, just pure Punisher?
Mm-hmm. It's also, like, talking about Carson, and, like, again, I thought Carson was going to be the main villain. Then I just said Billy was going to be the main villain. We also have Orange. And like, just the thing, also, Schoonover as well was very heavy in this episode. Carson, they, like, really was like, we're going to kill Carson, then just show you how awful he is over and over again. And in this, it was like, Schoonover was, I mean, he's the main reason why Frank's entire family was killed. I guess not the main reason, but, like, a huge part of it. And in this episode, it was a lot of, like, yeah, we're going to make Schoonover seem like not that bad of a guy. Like, he is terrible, but he's nowhere near as terrible as a lot of the other people.
Yeah.
Like, and nowhere near as terrible as he was in, Daredevil, so.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, like, there's something, like, just the way that he responds to just like, well, you reap what you sow. Like, I mean, it's nice because he is owning up to, like, like, he got himself fucked up, injured really badly there, and he's like, you know what, this is my fault. But at the same time, you got everybody else in the situation and murder them all, and, like, there's no, like, haha, I fucked up about that. Like, you can't just say, haha, I fucked up over that. But I recognize that it is, like, regardless of that, there's still this bit of me that goes, like, it's nice to see him be like, you know what, I deserve this injury.
But yeah, like, there's such a fundamental difference between, like, anyone else in the squad saying, oh man, we fucked up, versus, ha ha ha, I was the one who really pushed everyone to do this. This was a bad one, sorry guys.
Yeah, like, it's curious, like, what would have gone on if Orange had never been there. Like, because would a lot of these people have never gotten to the point of needing to kill Frank? Like, the fact that they were capable of that at all makes them terrible people. But, like, it's the sort of, like, if Orange wasn't here, would that circumstance have ever come up to begin with? And, like, he is definitely, like, the absolute, like, there's no way where that's the last we're gonna see him. He also got punched in the eye in a way that makes me feel like he's gotta come back with, like, an eye patch or something.
Oh, yeah. That's a real, I'm getting a design change.
Oh, yeah. So, And the way that like Billy was defending him, not for like any ulterior motive, but just for like if you actually attack him, then something very very bad is going to happen to you, and I'm going to prevent that right now. But
Yeah.
I think that could be a parallel to then later on in the season if he does the same thing.
I could see that.
Because I could see Orange being like someone that's high up in Anvil or something.
I can definitely see that. And yeah, like, Billy is so middle of the road in that whole scene, in that, like, he doesn't actively say, like, I have the same rank as Frank. I can also extremely say this is a stupid idea, but he just says, I agree with Frank's instincts.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he's putting himself in the situation where if the higher-ups say anything about it, he can go, like, well, I didn't push for it.
Yeah, and I mean, to be fair, he's also the realist. He knows that he's not going to be able to push for it. Like, it does not matter whatever he says, they're still going to do it.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, Billy is likable because he is someone who at least understands the situation that is going on at all these times. Like, he did not join this going, like, like, half people here are so just dumb. Like, there's no easy way to put it, like if you join the army and then you're like, what, this is crazy, I'm killing people and I don't want to be killing people. It's like, bud, what the fuck do you, like, it's hard for me to, like, and I think that's a general feeling I'm having with a lot of this show of like, this show's not for me, This show is for people who are like, yeah, I love the army. Oh, wait, no, the army might be kind of bad. Like, it's just, it's not a great show for people who, already know how fucked up the army is. Because it's like, it's very, very, like, just, Frank is, it's very in character. Frank is incredibly dumb. Like, that's never been like, Frank has always been, very innocently dumb, very ignorantly dumb, like, not like a, you know what I'm saying. Very, very naive, extremely naive. And so, but for a lot of the other characters, it's like, it's hard for me to fully care about them when they've been doing this over and over again, and they're like, I'm getting tired of killing innocent people. This is too much for my sanity. And it's like, how am I supposed to feel about this?
Yeah.
Like, I don't, especially after this episode, why Frank wouldn't get out. Like, why would he not get out? It's just like, it's the like, I have a hard time putting myself in the shoes of characters that are that enraptured by propaganda, like are that swept up by it all, because it's like, how are you doing all of this and you're still buying into it? And so, like, I think that's just a big thing about like why this show is not really doing it for me. Of just like, it's it's very morally fucked up, everything, and they act like it's all morally gray when it's not. Like, I think that is my main thing. Everything in the show is extremely black and white, and they act like it's gray, and it's weird.
It's something I've had a lot of problem with like, with the comics. Like, when the comics ever do military stuff, and it is a very clear, like, we are, pushing very hard on the military is bad button, because of course we understand that you are going to have this inherent pushback there, or this inherent, like, but, I as a reader am going to push back on it, and that'll even it out.
Like, I think the problem I have is, like, it's very, very anti-military, but it's also very pro-soldier. And it's like, I just can't get behind that. It's, like, I can get behind the idea of people who are, who joined the army because they bought into the propaganda and then they got out. But, like, if you're there for multiple tour upon tour upon tour and you're still doing all this shit, and, like, and the fact that they join with the American Taliban, Cerberus, like, the fact that they do that at all, like, they know what they're getting into. It's not like a mystery, like, oh, what are we gonna be doing? Like, they know what they're getting into, and they do it anyway. And at that point, once you're past that point, it's like, it's very hard to, put yourself in that character's shoes.
Like, in in a different situation, like if he was just sorry, if Frank was part of just a very average battalion, and he we know that he has like less than 30 days before he's out because of the tickets.
Hmm.
So, like in any other situation where they're not like doing the worst shit, and he is clearly aware that they are doing the worst shit in the world, I could even understand the sentiment of, well, I've come this far, I'll just wait out the next few weeks. But when they're in the American Taliban, it is the most like, you can't wait a few weeks for this. You
Hmm.
know how bad this is. You gotta get out right now.
Yeah, like when they were saying they did fucked up shit, I this whole time I was like, yeah, they've done fucked up shit. Like, I mean, up until the start of this show, like in Daredevil when we were talking about it, it's very like, yeah, he did some fucked up shit. Like they did the heroin stuff and whatever, but it was all stuff that it was like, like selling heroin. That's it's shitty to be introducing heroin to a country that doesn't already have it as a problem. I assume that's what they were implying with that. Whereas if they were just like, selling heroin to a country that was already buying heroin normally, not that big of a deal. But still, I mean,
It's still a pretty
big
big
deal, but it's not as big of a deal of like what they meant by the fucked up shit they were doing. Like, that is like so much lower on a level than like just going around and killing innocent, high-ranking people and everything.
Right. It's
Like, it's a far bigger gap that I would like. I could have never in a million years thought that this was going to be the thing that he did, and even then that it wasn't like when we got this tape and everything like that, it was like he was involved with something like this that went like and after this he got out. No, apparently that's not true. Like Frank is just like, they're really making me not like Frank now. Like this is too much. I don't know, man. It's uncomfortable.
Yeah, fully agree. It's the kind of show in general where, like, I don't know if I would be watching it if we weren't doing like reactions and discussions and stuff. And if I did, I doubt it'd be the kind of thing I'd be like talking about and thinking about a lot. Whereas like the other like Netflix MCU shows have never had that problem to me. Even the ones where I've like some parts of Luke Cage or Iron Fist where I thought they kind of dipped. Even those ones I was like, well, at the very least I could talk about this for like ages upon ages. And there's a lot of stuff here that I find really interesting or very like talkable. But yeah, Punisher is a different beast.
Yeah, Punisher's the kind of thing where if I was not doing reactions to it, I might watch it all myself. I might have just dropped it after the first 2 episodes or so. But like, even if I did watch it all, it probably would have been like, yeah, I liked Micro. But yeah, it's just not something I would want to talk about. Like, it's very uncomfortable. I mean, I don't know how else to say it other than it's an extremely uncomfortable show. I don't know how to feel about so much stuff because it's just like, this doesn't feel good to watch, and it doesn't feel like, oh, we need to talk about this sort of thing. Like, it feels like the ways in which we're talking about this stuff is just, I don't know, man. There's a lot of stuff I like when it feels unbelievably exploitative towards, like, just so much shit, and it's just, like, it feels dirty and bad, and I don't like it. Like, it's not a bad writing show, it's just I don't know, man.
Yeah.
Don't know how I feel about it. And like, there's some stuff that's really good. Like the I don't know if we got his name or not, but the like younger kid who was a part of the PTSD group who was talking about just talking about how shit everything he did was now, how the government has abandoned him and everything, and like the whole scene of him in his house, like having a nightmare and then waking up and shooting and almost killing his dad, and that whole scene was absolutely incredible. And it's like there's scenes like that are so unbelievably amazingly impactful, but then there's like the whole scene at the end, going through Kandahar, which is just like I don't know if we needed any of that. Like, I know why. Like, the scene itself, I get it, but I don't know if we needed to see it, It felt really bad to watch, and not in a, like, not like a horror movie way, not in a, like, oh, there's too much gore sort of way, just in a, like, I don't want to watch this, Like...
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it just... I don't know how to feel about this show.
Mm-hmm. I gotcha. Yeah. Like there's a lot of themes I find interesting. I'd be definitely into a MCU show talking about veteran stuff and the like being exploited by their countries. Like that's a theme I can get behind. I'm interested in that kind of stuff. But when you get that fight and it's like, am I supposed to think that Frank is cool right now?
I mean, I
Like,
don't
what
think
is
you're
this
supposed to
energy
think
supposed
that.
to be?
Like, the energy is definitely, Frank is having to kill people that he doesn't want to kill simply because he is innocent. Like, his superiors have put him in a situation where he has to fight to get out of it. Like, if he just sits there, he's going to die. He has to kill these people to get out of the situation. But it's like, yeah, I know that. Do I need to see that happen? Like, I don't, I can't imagine like that in any other thing where it's like you're having to watch your main character just slaughter an army of innocent people. It's just like I really don't want to see this.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Frank's not a guy that lets out his emotions very much, so it's not even like we get to see, like him react to it very much. It's just sort of like we see him do it and then he gets mad at, the orange, asking if they killed the target. But like, there's no grief for the people. It's just like angry at the situation he was. It feels more like he's just angry that he almost died rather than anything.
Yeah.
And so like, it's just, yeah, it's weird.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I feel like the biggest thing is, like, I've gone from, like, the first couple episodes being like, I just want to watch this Punisher show. I just want to watch the Punisher, killing people, punishing people that are terrible people. And then now I'm like, well, shouldn't Frank kill himself? Like, why is Frank not killed himself? He definitely should. Like, if he, like, by his own Punisher standards, he should.
Right.
But he's not going to. So, I don't know. Now it feels weird. It feels even more dirty to be like, I don't want to root for this guy. I don't want to be like, like, it's a very, like, hypocritical situation now. And it's way less of, like, well, he's the only one who can do this. Like, it's like, no, you more than anybody should not be doing this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it retroactively makes me like episode 1 less.
Mm-hmm.
Because, like, I'd be more okay with the idea of, he believes he's the only one who can do it, and he has not stopped. Like, he keeps on going deeper and deeper, and there's more and more that he has to do, and, like, it's the never-ending fight sort of energy.
Yeah, if it was, again, if it is like, I'm gonna make up for what I've done by, killing people who are also horrible monsters, and then when I have finally finished, I can die myself, or, I will just die when I fail eventually. But, like, that's not what it is. He just retires and, goes and hits a wall with a hammer for a while. And it's like, am I supposed to like this guy now?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, maybe I was just expecting too little, apparently, from, like, the horrible shit that he did in Afghanistan. I was just assuming, like, yeah, if you fight in Afghanistan, that's gonna be some terrible, like, whatever you do is gonna be monstrous shit. But even then, I could look past that a little bit. But I can't look past this. I mean, this is...
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, again, it would be one thing if it was just the one, tape thing we saw, and, like, after that he got out of it. But the fact that that's not the case as well is like, it just... There's people he's killed that are way less bad than he is.
Yeah. Plus, just narratively, it feels really weird to me that, like, yes, he has killed all these innocent people, all these people who, were non-combatants. But the thing that the narrative keeps on, like, that we have focused on as being the worst thing is the time they killed a cop.
Yeah, I cannot stop fucking... That's so ridiculous. Because it's like...
that is the moral event horizon.
Mm-hmm. Like, they keep bringing up that he's a cop, like, I'm going to care more, when it's just, like, by the time we've seen this thing so many times where we put out these 3 episodes, and then we finally, like, see the full flashback, it's like, I don't really care anymore, because you keep bringing up that this only matters because he's a cop.
Yeah.
And so it's just like, that's so fucking weird. I mean, yeah, I don't know if I'm going to be continuing this show or not. I don't know. I might stop it here. Because yeah. I don't know how they're gonna do a season 2. Like, I would say I might continue watching, because maybe that's the point. Maybe Punisher is the villain of this season, and, like, they would kill him at the end of the season. But it's clearly not going to be the case, so...
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. This is really disappointing, too, because Punisher, I was so unbelievably excited to get to as a season, and, it went from a character where I was like, I went into, seeing Punisher for the first time in Daredevil, going like, now, Punisher, I'm pretty sure is a character I'm going to absolutely hate. He seems like everything I hate, in these kind of characters. And then I went like, oh, actually, this might be one of my favorite characters in, like, the Netflix MCU, and now maybe even, like, the MCU total. I love him so much. And then now to, like, find out what his full backstory was, and it's like, oh, never mind.
Yeah. I mean, like, yeah, talking about what we, said in the first 2 episodes, I find it so, like, it was already weird to me that we've already set up Punisher, and now we're doing now we have to reset him up. It's not like we can just, have you accept that he's just the Punisher now. But all the resetting up has also made me like him less, which is the most, like, paradoxical thing in the world. It's the most, like, you put so much effort into this thing that makes me like him less than if you had just gone straight out and he's still the Punisher. He's just gonna Punisher now.
Yeah, like, every one of these 3 episodes has made me like him less. And like, I don't know why they're doing that. Do they think that people are gonna like him more, or is this a purposeful thing? I'm also not sure about that. But, like, I think I'm going to give it one more episode. And see, where we're going. Yeah. What's going on. But, yeah, it just... I don't know.
I'm down with that. Yeah.
The main thing that I'm going to be disappointed about if I don't get to watch it is just Karen. Like, I'm going to be missing out on what happened with her plot line here, and I'm going to have to watch the whole thing myself regardless. I can't, I will not let myself not, but,
right.
Doing reactions to it, I don't know. I don't know if my reactions are
fundamentally different.
I don't say a lot during the reactions either. They're very quiet reactions, so I don't know if it's worth it. But, I might just drop the 4 episodes as a thing, because, like, I wouldn't want to do these discussions and then not go anywhere with that.
I'm totally fine with it.
We spent so much time on this.
To.
I will just drop these 4 episodes. It would also explain, why I'm not watching it. Hopefully. But yeah, I think it's got some good in it, but overall it's just uncomfortable, and I don't know why they're making me not like Frank so much. Like, why are they doing this?
Yeah. To me, it comes back to, like, the math of episode 1, where I was like, this is not a good episode 1, but maybe if we take the stuff here and it, makes it worth it later on, then sure, I can accept an episode 1. But I don't know if I can accept an 3 episodes in a row.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just, oh, boy. I mean, there's plenty more I could say about this episode. I just don't really want to. I don't feel like it, Like, the best part of this episode is just the micro stuff. Like, I really love the debate of, like, do you do something that's better for the world, or do you do something that's better for your family? And,
Yeah. Yeah, and, like...
It's a great parallel, again, with Frank having the, like, do I do something that's bad for the world, or I do something that's bad for my family? Both, I guess.
Yeah, I'm very sympathetic to, like, the whistleblower narrative.
Yeah, that's it for this episode.
Yeah.
We will see you guys for the next episode, maybe. Get the fuck out of here.